And welcome back everyone to another episode of the Frightfully Good Vodcast with your hosts, Anne Rzechowicz from Oz Paratech and Renata Daniel from Newcastle Ghost Tours. And tonight we are carrying on with the ABC of paranormal strangeness, and we are up to the letter E. And tonight we are talking about empaths and EMF. So join us soon for tonight's podcast.
Like real soon. Hey everyone, I'd like you all to meet Obida. It's just woken up for a sleep and it doesn't want to have anything to do with us. So I'm just waiting for Renata. She's fiddling with her phone. Hopefully you can see us all. I am Anne from Oz Paratech. This is Renata, who's been on a diet and clearly lost so much weight she's almost see-through, from Newcastle Ghost Tours, and together we are...
Frightfully Good.
Thank you, she's back. Yes, that little kitten you just saw is Obda, which Charlotte has named. Whenever you say, what is the cat's name, she goes, Obda, Obda. We've got no idea what it means, but the cat has now been named Obda. So yes, they're taking it with when they move out. They've bought a house. They'll be gone in about 6 weeks. I'll have the house back. And down a cat, because now we've got 4 cats in the house. So welcome to another show. We're a little bit, I don't know, is it a bit airheaded, vague more than normal tonight? I don't know quite what's going on. It's not a full moon or anything, is it?
It's coming up to that, yes.
Okay.
It's coming up to a full moon. But yes, there's been plenty going on. It's been really, really hot, so everyone has sort of suffered from the heat these last 2 days. Hello, Jen Ben. And yeah, if it's anything like the energy at my house, it's pretty flat.
You're being very polite.
Yeah.
And I don't even have Roman here. Poor Roman has been working night shift up in the mines. Not underground, but above ground, installing some new stuff for them. And he was out there on that really hot night where the temperature did not drop, working right through till 8 o'clock in the morning. Bless his cotton picking little socks. Sorry, the cat's just trying to climb the scenery in the background behind us. And he still hasn't come home. He's still up there. I have heard from him. He is still alive. So we're happy that... Oh, can we tell them what we just booked?
Can, yeah. Hi, Danielle.
Okay. So as you all know, Renata and I are guest speakers at the West Virginian Moundsville Paranormal Conference in June this year.
Hi, Tanya.
And we're doing a bit of a road trip.
Hi, Belinda.
So we're flying from Salem or from Boston back to Pittsburgh, and then we're getting a car and we're going to do a bit of a drive around. So we wanted to go to Lilydale because Lilydale is the sort of home of spiritualism in America, and it was just always on my bucket list, so I thought we'd go there. We're still trying to find somewhere to stay there, so if someone knows, the cat's going nuts over there, anyone knows of good places to stay in Lilydale, can you please send us a message? But we thought we're so close to Niagara Falls, we're going to pop across into Canada and go to Niagara Falls. So I thought, you know, this is probably going to be my only chance. I'm sure Renata will get several other chances to go. It'll be my only chance to go to Niagara Falls. So I have booked a room at great expense because I figured this is a special thing. I booked a room at the Embassy Suites Hilton that overlooks the falls in a little suite.
I'm going to send her over in a barrel.
We
I think that's what I'll do.
We're just going to sit there and look out the window at the falls. It's going to be fantastic. Now we can do the zip line.
I'll do the zip line.
You do the zip line, I'm going to do the boat.
I'll do the zip line and I'll put a camera on.
Speaking of which, I've bought us both a little POV camera, point of view camera, so that we can film a lot of our journey.
I'll do the zip line. We've already told them that we're two little old ladies and...
I've pulled the old lady card. I'll do anything to get a free upgrade or something nice. Because it says in there, do you have any message for them? And I've gone, what did I say? Look, this is probably going to be our first and last chance to get to see the falls. We are so excited to be coming and staying at your hotel. It'll be the last chance we get before we fall off our perch. I actually used those words. Works sometimes. You get people do lovely things for you if they think you're going to fall off your perch soon. You're old.
Hi, Brooke. Hi, Cherry.
All right. So we will be going live from Niagara Falls. We don't even have to get wet. We can just sit there and look through the window and go, look, that's Niagara Falls.
I'm not getting on that bloody boat. You can go on the boat with the raincoat.
Yeah.
I'll do the zip line.
All right. You've got a deal. You've got a shake on that.
Because I'm so close to death.
Renata's going to do the zip line. You all saw that. She's witnessed it. Yep. Okay. I'm going to push her. So, Renata, what have we got on tonight?
Well, we have an announcement to make.
Apart from the fact we've got a cat.
Okay. All right. We've got a cat. We're not making that announcement
Oh,
tonight?
of course we are.
Okay, there you go. We've got an announcement to make. And we are doing, or continuing the ABC of Paranormal Strangeness, and we are talking about empaths and EMF tonight. So let me head over to my little doodad machine and press.
Going to press while the cat's in the kitty litter scratching. Okay, we ready? Let's go. Welcome to the ABC of Paranormal Strangers with Renata Daniel from Newcastle Ghost Tours and Anne Rzechowicz from Oz Paratech. And tonight we have the letter
E.
And we are looking at
empaths
and
EMF.
EMF.
So this is the first part, part A or part 1 of the letter E. And we are going to discuss... Shall I go first?
Yeah, you shall. You shall go first. Now remember, people don't like it when you read from your notes, Renata. So
I'm sorry.
You're going to
I've
have
got
to.
notes. I'm sorry. Look at my eyes.
So
look this way. Look here.
We had a big weekend. We had a big workshop on Sunday. It was fantastic. Thank you for all those people that attended. We learnt so much from it.
Yes, thank you so very, very much to all the lovely people that came along. It was really, really an amazing workshop. It really was. And our next workshop is all about how to be a ghost hunter. So if you are interested, come onto the Facebook page and check out the link. And you'll find all the details there. So that one is in, not next month, but the month after. April. So anyway, we're going to go ahead and talk about empaths. So tell us whether you believe you are an empath. Give us a heart or just say, yeah, I believe I'm an empath in your messages, so that we know how many people we have currently that are watching that believe they are empaths. As I go ahead and I read some of this, maybe you'll be able to recognize yourself. So what is an empath? That's a good question. What do you think an empath is, Miss Anne?
Well, for me, it's always been someone who can pick up on the emotions of others or sense what is going on with someone. They pick up on vibrational energy. That's the kitten. Vibrational energy. Would that be about right?
Yeah, that's about right.
That's it. Show over. Thank you.
So being an empath is when you are affected by other people's energies and have an innate ability to intuitively feel and intuitively feel.
For those who are listening on the podcast, Renata has an 8-week-old kitten on her shoulder that's just stuck its bum in her mouth.
And perceive others. Your life is unconsciously influenced by others' desires. Wishes,
so because
thoughts,
other
and
people
moods.
feel it, you also... I just thought that was being very suggestible.
Well, true.
Because I get like that.
So Yeah, you tend to, I think, as an empath, change how you are to suit those that are in your environment, which I know I do all the time. So being an empath is much more than being highly sensitive.
Nice mustache.
And
Ray.
it's not just limited to emotions.
Yeah.
Empaths can perceive physical sensitivities and
Hello,
spiritual urges, as well as just knowing the motivations and intentions of other people. So they read people well. You're either an empath or you aren't. It's not a trait that is learned. You're always open, so to speak,
Do you reckon?
and to process other people's feelings and energy, which means you really feel in many cases that you take on other people's emotions. Now, let us know if you feel that you are really open as an empath all the time and you get bombarded by other people's energies. I think that sometimes...
I know one of our gorgeous volunteers is always getting bombarded by energies around her, and she quite struggles with it.
She does.
Hi, Amanda.
I think sometimes what has to happen too is that you pull yourself away as an empath from crowds or from groups, just so that you can re-energize yourself in a spot that is, just a little bit more quieter, and so that you can, get back into yourself rather than having your energy pulled by a whole lot of other people. So these are all things that might likely contribute to outside influences and not so much yourself at all. Essentially, you are walking around the world with all the accumulated karma, emotions and energy from others. That's really an extreme case of someone who is open as an empath. So you have to do a lot of work to have boundaries and set boundaries so that you can sort of stay mentally well, if that makes sense to people. Yeah, empaths are often quiet achievers. They can take a while to handle a compliment, for they're more inclined to point out another person's positive attributes. Very true.
Yeah.
They are highly expressive in all areas of emotional connection and talk openly and at times quite frankly.
Now that's something I actually used to struggle with, is when people gave you a compliment, I would then pick on myself to bring myself back down or deny what the person had said. So for all those people who do that, I want you to try practicing something. I want you to try practicing just saying, wow, thank you so much, and leave it at that. It's really hard, but you are validating the person who has given you the compliment, making them feel good, and in a way it does you good as well.
Very true. Now this next point is really interesting. It says that they can appear reclusive and apparently unresponsive at the best of times.
Yeah, look,
which can sometimes make people seem to think that these people are
bitches.
A bit bitchy.
I thought she was the bitch from hell. I used to look at her resting bitch face and go, hell no, I'm not talking to her. Turns out she's just someone who's been burnt and is very reserved and hides inside the shell. Have I just said too much?
You have.
Sorry.
So they can appear ignorant and arrogant at times.
Michelle, kitty kitty.
And that may be a defense mechanism. So don't get too close to me, or I don't want to actually sort of enter into your energy space, because I might feel how you are feeling at the moment, and that might make me quite disturbed and disrupted. So empaths have a tendency to openly feel what is outside of them more so than what's inside of them. Does
that mirror? They mean that they mirror whatever it is that's going on the outside, because that's what they're feeling.
Yep.
That's not their true feelings.
Yep. And they are peacemakers. So if they find themselves in the middle of a confrontation, they will endeavour to settle the situation as quickly as possible.
Guilty as all hell in that. I hate confrontation.
Or run.
Yeah. Yes.
Run and hide.
Yes.
Hide.
Run away. Run away. Oh my God. Yes. I must be an empath.
You must be. If any harsh words are expressed in defending themselves, they are likely to resent their lack of self-control and have a preference for peacefully resolving the problem quickly. Oh, hell yes.
Yeah, but I've been letting that go a little bit more now. I've actually started biting the bullet and going, you know what? The only way to get through this is to go to it head on and go to the source. And that's what I've been doing for some stuff, even though I hate it. It makes my skin crawl. But it actually gives me a greater sense of relief to do it when I get the answers I need.
Now, this next thing is really interesting because these
all about me, I hope you noticed.
These words ring in my mind 50 years after I was a child. Okay, so...
Did it trigger you, Renata?
Yes.
Triggers. We don't unpack things anymore.
No.
We trigger.
Yeah. So withholding emotional expression can be a direct result of a traumatic experience, an expressionless upbringing, or simply being told as a child, children are meant to be seen and not heard. Now, those of my age will remember that saying. Not all of you are that old, but some of you might be. So children are meant to be seen and not heard.
We are that old because we want free upgrades.
So I heard that many a time. And yes,
Jenny,
it still affects me.
Jenny says that her autism has kicked in and she can't cope with people anymore. She needs to go hide in a room. That happens still to me too. I'm overwhelmed by everything that's going on and I need time out.
So let us know if some of these things are actually ticking boxes for you, because I guess they are. And most people who are really, really... interested in the supernatural and paranormal, events and things like that, are often quite empathic. Often, very, very, probably 99.9% they are empaths, and they are so overloaded by feeling everybody's lives and energies and emotions that they actually hide away into a realm and a world that is far easier for them to deal with and understand, which is the realm of those that have passed over.
And I just noticed Sam said that her son is autistic, and I know that Brooke has some autistic, beautiful boys as well. They are empaths.
Yes, they are.
They're really unshielded, and the world overwhelms them. And you guys, wow, I don't know how you do what you do, but you teach them with coping mechanisms to be able to survive in this crazy world, and for you guys to survive it as well. It's tough. Hi, Christy.
So empaths are sensitive to TV and what they see on TV, and I wrote about this yesterday on my Facebook page about people putting up some really horrendous and awful things. Yes. And the thing that I saw yesterday has scarred me for a very long time. I don't know. I never will. I never will. But it is something that, when you see an image, you just can't remove it then out of your head. And people sometimes do it from the goodness of their hearts to try and make people aware.
Raise awareness.
But they do not understand how emotionally distraught some people can get when they see those images. It can be absolutely heart-wrenching and so destructive to people who are super sensitive. And you must be very, very careful when you do that. So they're sensitive to TV, videos, movies, news and broadcasts, violence or emotional dramas depicting shocking scenes of physical or emotional pain inflicted on adults, children and animals.
Because they take on the exterior. That's not what's within them, they take on the exterior.
Yeah.
Okay, that makes sense, yeah.
Can bring an empath easily to tears because you're feeling what they are possibly feeling, even though you know that it is in some cases a movie, you're still going to feel it. If it is reality, it's even worse. Like the story of that poor family where their children were involved in that car accident in Paranormal. Yeah. How emotionally distraught that family must be, and I'm sure it's affecting a lot of people out there. So this is interesting. They simply cannot justify the suffering they feel and see. Exactly. Yeah. Why would one person do that to another person? It is really, really hard to understand. Or an animal. Yeah. You will find empaths working a lot with people, animals and nature, because their true passion and dedication is to stop pain. That's what it is. It is to stop pain. And even if they can't get themselves into those situations where they're in a helping role, they will help in whatever role they have, because that is their natural tendency to do that.
Oh, by the way, the cat that is curled up on my bosom is alive and well. It's just having a snooze. Just stopped here and fell asleep.
Hi, Kerry.
Hi, Kerry.
So empaths are excellent storytellers due to an endless imagination, inquisitive mind, and never expanding knowledge. They can be old romantics at heart and very gentle.
Well, you know, the whole Pokemon thing was created by a young man with autism.
Oh.
Their imagination has just created this whole world.
So Ashley says she's a vet nurse. Of course. Oh, how many times a week do you go home crying, Ashley? I can just imagine.
Oh.
It must be
Sorry.
something that is profoundly amazing for you to do, but also so desperately awful sometimes. I can't just imagine. They are the keepers of secrets. They can be family historians. They can dip into ancestral history. They have a broad interest in music, art, anything that is expressive, any sort of craft. Yeah, Ashley says every week. Yeah, I can imagine it. Empaths can project an incredible amount of energy portraying and or releasing emotion. Yeah, they can become lost in music. People of all walks of life and animals are attracted to the warmth and genuine compassion of empaths. I wonder, is that true? Do you find that people are attracted to you? Do you find that people will stop and just open up and talk to you for no apparent reason? Maybe because they feel your energy or your calmness or that thing about that connectedness that is there naturally in an empath, and they will open up. As a tarot card reader, I find that all the time. People will open up and tell me things that they don't tell many other people just because I've put them at ease. Yeah. So they are the listeners of life, which is a beautiful statement to make, isn't it?
Like that, yeah, listeners of life.
Abandonment is one of the worst things for an empath to suffer.
Yeah.
Abandonment will be something that scars an empath forever.
Yeah.
And that could be for many different reasons.
We don't forgive that very easily.
That abandonment happens. But empaths don't understand abandonment because they would never abandon anything.
They give their heart and soul unconditionally, and then they get abandoned.
Yeah. And a lot of the things that have been happening online at the moment are, you know, pictures of dogs that are being shown tied up, and the question is, how could you ever do this to me? And it's like, I think you better give the kitty get back.
Oh, okay, that's the granddaughter at the door knocking, and okay.
Just excuse Anne for a moment, anyone that's listening. The new kitty cat, Obida, has to go back to little Charlotte before she gets really upset. So, unfortunately, empaths have a lot of anxiety and stress that they deal with in life because of all the things that they come across, and that can make them seem rather fairy-like and airheaded, and that they can't ground themselves, and that they always live from their emotional base. And that is quite true. That's how they do live. They live from a heart space, not a head space. And often they feel that they aren't understood and very much misunderstood, especially from people who do work from a head-centered space. But empaths do work from this heart space, and everything they say is about how they feel. I feel this way, rather than someone who is working from the head space that would say, I think this way. So that's also an interesting way to speak to children who are very empathic. How do you feel about this? Rather than what you think about this, because they would be two different types of answers that you would get. Now, just quickly, as we're still on to this empaths subject, let's look at a couple of common traits that empaths have. So it's a knowing.
Hang on, guys. Sorry, I know. Yep.
So empaths just know things. So this is this psychic thing that they tap into, and the knowing is a protective thing that happens. So it's like you explore everything about that person from a feeling perspective, so that you know whether you're safe or not. And in most cases, most empaths will say, I don't feel safe around anyone until I do.
A gut instinct?
Yeah. No, it's a gut instinct.
Or is it safety?
No, it's a safety thing.
Yeah.
It's a safety
in case they get abandoned.
Yeah. In case they get abandoned or in case they get hurt. Yep. Being in public places can be overwhelming.
Mm-hmm.
Who goes to the supermarket and forgets exactly what they're supposed to buy the moment they go through those doors?
Yep.
So supermarkets and places like that can be atrocious crowds, really huge crowds, where you sort of just get stuck in the loop of conversation and of the energies that are around you, and completely forget why you're there. And you might last 5 minutes, 10 minutes, and then you've got to go. You've got to leave. Even when it comes to being in a restaurant, I need to sit at a wall with my back to the wall, facing people. So if you have people all around you, and this was a school thing as well, I had to be in the back corner, because if you have people all around you, there is no safe space to be, really. You have to have a place where there is no one and no energy, and usually that's a wall. So that you've only got people either on the side or in front.
That's a survival instinct as well, because I know that my son, who was in the army for several years, would always position himself so he had no one behind him, and that he could see all the doors and escape routes, so that if somebody came through, that he would be in a position to know exactly what was going on somewhere.
So Kathy says, I can have a panic attack in a crowd. Yes, totally true. Totally true. Watching violence, cruelty or tragedy on TV can be unbearable. Yes, so we have to make sure that we are ready, or I have to be in a particular mood to see a particular TV show that I might think might trigger me. So it could take years for me to watch a movie that's just come out, because I have to be in the right space and frame of mind to be able to do that.
I can't watch the ones that are all blood and gore. I just can't. It's just like, this is just violence for the sake of violence. And I know other people love it, and that's fine. But for me, I can't bear it.
Mm-hmm. And Trudy says, you know when someone is lying to you. And that's my next point. You know when someone's not being honest. So you read my script, Trudy. Very good, yes. Picking up on physical symptoms of others. Yes, that is also something.
So that means like, if I've got a headache, you'd start to get a headache as well. So that's like a psychic link.
Yep. Digestive disorders and lower back problems.
That just sounds like old age.
So the solar plexus, and this is about the chakra. The solar plexus is based in the center of the abdomen and is known as the seat of emotion. So that's when we can get stomach ulcers, irritable bowel syndrome, lower back problems,
gas.
Yeah, all of those things.
I had a bit of issue last night. My tummy was not happy.
Can affect empaths. Always looking out for the poorest and the weakest. Yeah, always looking out for the underdog. That's what an empath will do. You will go directly to the person who is feeling not comfortable, and you will go over there and talk to them.
They are the underdog as well.
Possibly, knowing how that person feels, but also it's the critical emotion in the room that you're feeling and you're sensing. So that's what you want to go and fix. Yep. Others will offload their problems to you. That's a big hands up. Who feels that and gets that all the time? So your best friends want to offload. People you don't even know want to offload. And then they walk away going, oh, gee, I feel good after talking to you. And you go,
the empath is going,
give me a tablet, give me coffee, please. Yeah. You have an addictive personality. Oh, shit, yes.
Danielle said that she thinks it's to make everyone happy, that it's a need to make everyone happy.
Yeah, that's true too. That's true. So
people pleasers.
You can have problems with alcohol, drugs, sex, any sort of addiction, and that is to dampen down the emotional side of you. Yeah. So like you don't feel pain when you are doing something addictive, and addictions can be turned into positive addictions, but they can still be addictions. So yeah, that's a whole workshop. That's a workshop. You're drawn to healing, holistic therapies, and things that are metaphysical. Yes, my darling parastalkers, all of you and all of us, exactly. You can be creative, so you can sing, dance, act, draw, write. There is a creative streak. There is a need for many empaths to journal and to write out their emotions and how they're feeling so it can get out of their head and at least onto a piece of paper. It's this disconnection that you make by writing it out. And journaling is a really, really good thing for empaths to keep doing. So it's very good. Going out in nature and being with animals is a great way for empaths to ground.
Hug a tree.
Hug a tree.
Take your shoes off and walk on the grass.
Hug a pussycat or a dog.
Oh, good. I'm glad you put cat on there.
Anything else that gives you unconditional love and that you don't have to kind of go, do you like me?
Please say you like me, please.
Please. Am I okay to be in your space?
So empaths can be a little bit needy sometimes too, can't
Oh,
they?
they can. It can turn into a very, very sour relationship when you're with an empath because they can
the
seem...
farting noises are my chair, by the way, just in case you're hearing that.
Yeah, they can seem to be over needy and oversensitive and real pains in the backside, honestly. And I'm speaking from knowing that myself because that's what I can be.
That sounds awesome, Kathy.
But yeah, so you have to be careful. Need of solitude. Yes, time out to just go and hide under a blanket or something.
So that's where I'm a little bit different. I crave my solitude, but then I can't stand being alone for too long because I don't know whether it's a sensory deprivation or something like that. Is that I need to go quiet, but then if there's nothing happening around me, I start to freak out a little bit.
Yeah. Gets bored or distracted easily. Squirrel.
All day.
Squirrel.
All day today. I kept thinking of a million things I had to do, and then I couldn't even finish off the thought, and I'd be on to something else and got nothing done.
Now, this is what I do.
Oh, I did get an event organised.
This is what I do. I'll go through Netflix for 15 minutes, and I'll pick a program finally, and I'll watch it, and I'll turn it on, right? And within 3 minutes, I've stopped it because I've got to get up.
Just to make a cup of
coffee.
She'll come
I'll
back
find something else to do, and then I'll come back.
And go, oh shit, that's right, I was watching that, wasn't I?
I'll turn that on for another 5 minutes, and then I'll go, okay, I've got to do something else. So do you tend to do two things at once, empaths?
At least.
Yeah, 2 or 3 things at once because one isn't enough to sort of distract.
Who watches TV whilst playing with their phone? And you can do both. You can actually watch the TV, know exactly what's going on in the plot, whilst playing Candy Crush.
Finds it impossible to do things they don't enjoy.
Oh, yeah.
Ooh, again.
That's just humanity, I think.
That's an emotional trigger. Strives for truth, always looks for the answers and knowledge. Yes. Now, let's get on. We've got a few more just before we finish.
Oh, my God. There's pages and pages of this stuff.
Yeah, empaths are free spirits. They love to feel freedom.
Freedom, get its clothes off.
Making
really concerned I was going to strip them.
I know. Giving them a small area to be in or feeling enclosed is really a bad thing for empaths.
Claustrophobic.
I hope my daughter's listening to this because this is her all over. Loves to daydream.
Oops.
Abhors clutter. Oh, shit. Okay, well, that was
we fall down badly there.
Prone to carry weight without necessarily overeating.
No, I overeat. I'm working on it though. It's still coming off.
They're excellent listeners. They're
Tina.
Intolerant.
Happy birthday for the other day, by the way.
Yes, happy birthday, Tina. Intolerant to narcissism. Although kind and often very tolerant to others, empaths do not like to be around overly egotistical people who put themselves first and refuse to consider another's feelings or points of view other than their own. The ability to feel the days of the week. Wow. So they pick up on the collective feeling. So Mondays can be shit, not necessarily because you're feeling shit, but everybody else is feeling shit. The hound of the Baskervilles in the background.
That's Max. Just we're in our professional recording studio here, as you can tell by little people knocking at the door and cats climbing on us and dogs baying at the door. Sorry, I just threw you out there.
Public holidays where they feel really good, and you go out into a crowd and everyone's feeling really good, and you run with that vibe as well. Yeah. Will not choose to buy antiques, vintage or secondhand.
Oh.
Maybe not. Maybe
Yeah.
not. There are some empaths that won't, because the energy that is left behind on those items will trigger them. So as for us, we pick up anything that's secondhand or vintage because we want to feel the energy that is on those items. So that can be a difference between, depending on where you stand.
Sorry, Cara, upset the poor cat.
Sense the energy of food. So lots of empaths can be vegan. Yeah.
Oh, did you know about vegans? If they swallow, they're not vegan. I'm just going to leave that there. You work that one out.
Do. So empaths, in conclusion, empaths have a particularly difficult time in the world. They pick up on negative energies and can really struggle.
Well, they wallow in it a bit.
Sensitive situations.
Now, what can empaths do to look after themselves?
Knowing their boundaries, knowing their where their energy levels are at. My suggestion also is to get healings every so often from an energy healer, so that they can unplug the stuff that is stuck in their chakras over time, so that they can
I'll be standing in a
better.
bath when that happens.
Just psychic hygiene, so looking after your energy centers, looking after the overall energy that you are in, looking after your home environment and making sure that you have a safe sanctuary,
This
a
seems
space.
very familiar, like yesterday during our workshop.
So a safe space that you can sort of call home, that no one will bother you, or that you can sort of hide away. It's really important to keep grounded, and again, grounding is another whole workshop on how you ground, and sort of maintain that stability in this world and not go off with the fairies. So you have to be sure about your anxiety and stress levels.
Having me time, Ray just suggested, which is a really good thing to do.
Yes.
Also, just a simple thing is to, when you get in the shower, just let the water run over you and say, I wash away all the negative stuff that's clinging onto me at the moment. I'm going to wash it all down the plug hole in 4 minutes or less, because we're on level 2 water restrictions. So that you release it. It's a way of releasing it. Don't hang on to it. You've got to let it go.
And learning to say the word no.
That's so hard to do.
Because as empaths, the desire is to heal the world, or heal someone. And the last person they often heal is themselves. So looking after yourself and being sure that you are in a strong position, that
boundaries, yes, Peter,
so that you can help others.
And keep away from the psychic vampires and the people who always have some sort of drama going on in their life. Keep away from the drama llamas.
And you'll be attracted to them like a moth to a flame. Like a moth to a flame.
White lightning any good to help an empath?
White lighting. White
lighting. I thought it was lightning. I thought you were saying we should zap them.
So yes, just you can sort of kind of white light yourself, if that's
a visualization thing. So that's just imagine yourself. Close your eyes. Imagine yourself that you've got an egg of white light around you, right under your feet, over your head, around your bum, everywhere, and it infuses right through you.
Meditation and mindfulness too helps. Yep, anything that brings you back to your center and allows you to work with stilling your energy, instilling those processes where you go into your headspace and start really confusing yourself with what you have taken on board. A good question always is, and this is what I always say to people, ask yourself that if you were left to your own devices, would you be okay? And are the problems that you're having a consequence of someone that you have met, or something in the environment that has triggered you? Because it may not be you. So left to your own devices, allowing yourself to do what feels right for you, would that be okay for you, and would that leave you feeling all right? Interactions with other people and what they say, how they say it, what they do, is that what is the trigger for you? So always go back and think, is it me or is it someone else that's causing my pain at the moment? And should I have that pain, should I be taking it on, or should I be letting it go?
And Danielle, who is one of our Grand Poobah Parastalkers, one of our Patreon supporters, is saying putting ourselves first. And that is one of the hardest things to do, but you don't have to do that in a selfish way, like take the biggest piece of pie or whatever it is. You can put yourself first to give yourself time to be well. Do something that makes you feel good. Like we've booked this thing at the Niagara Falls. I've done that to give us a sense of, you know, we're important enough to stay somewhere nice. We don't have to stay in a lot of those flea pits that we're looking at. We were staying in those for most of the rest of the trip. But we've done something nice for ourselves. We put ourselves first. And if you put yourself first and you feel good, then generally the people around you will come with you. You can then go and help them as well. Mm-hmm. Put your oxygen mask on first. Help yourself before you help others.
How does this all relate to ghost hunting and paranormal investigation? Empaths are really great at sensing their environment. So an empath really needs to switch on when they are ghost hunting and investigating. They will be the first to feel any sort of change in environment or energies. They will be able to pick up on what they believe may be good or bad energy and be able to relate that to the rest of the group. So empaths are like that walking, talking, temperature control, that psychic instrument that will really pick up on all the different things that are occurring on a site. The interesting thing though is to be able to sense whether that is coming from the stagnant energy that remains within the site or whether you are picking it up from the people that you are with. So that's the big thing an empath has to learn. Am I picking this up from a living human being, or am I picking this up from the environment? So the best thing for those really switched on psychic empathic people is to go into environments alone. Go in solo so that you have nobody else that you are reading from. Before you step into that environment, create your boundary and say, okay, I'm releasing everything from this point on, and I'm going in specifically and opening up to feel this environment, and then walk in on your own and see what you can sense. You know, the moment there are one or two or three people in there, the likelihood is the disturbance will be coming from those other people and their energies. So go in on your own, sense and feel what is happening, write it all down or give the description back to the rest of your team, and then allow them to walk in and do the same thing.
Oh, you can even use your phone. There's a voice recorder on your phone. You can just talk into your phone what you're experiencing and feeling, and then you've got a recording of it before everyone else goes in and has their experience. It's a way of validating what's going on.
So I hope that's helped everyone who feels that they are an empath. You are, yes, you are mad. You are crazy. And yes, your life is going to be exceptionally difficult, but that's your superpower. So you may as well get used to it.
And do you know what? It's okay to choose the bigger piece of cake when you want to sometimes too.
So on that note, we're going to finish part A. And
Part one.
And we will
Part
shortly be back.
Alpha.
We will shortly be back with the second part of E, electromagnetic fields,
And
with Miss Anne Rzechowicz.
And our podcasters just hang there and we'll just finish up the podcast. I don't know why I feel the need to freeze while I do that, but there you go. Now, while we've got this little opportunity in here, we just want to again thank our Grand Poobah Parastalkers who are our biggest supporters on Patreon. They are helping us out, paying $10 a month, and it is US, to help us bring you more content, to explore different areas, and generally be more of a nuisance online to you all. But if you'd like to sponsor us in any way, we have a $2 a month support package, we have a $5 package, and our $10 top grand poobah package. So just pop over to Patreon, type in Frightfully Good Paranormal, I think it is, or Spiritual Community, something like that, but it's definitely Frightfully Good, and you can learn all about that there. You don't have to give us money to support us. Other ways you can support us are by liking our page, sharing our page, telling people to come on and watch us, making sure you're giving us love hearts on our posts.
We love your posts. Don't feel that you're being too chatty. We love people
writing. We want people to engage.
Please engage with us.
Makes my life much easier. Yeah, so that there's certainly other ways that you can support us, and we appreciate everything you guys do for us. Yeah, so...
Okay, we're just about to start the second part.
Oh, how's that for a big love heart? That's a huge love heart.
And so let me just click here.
There goes my creaky chair again.
Okay, so welcome now, listeners, and those that are watching us live to the second part of Paranormal Strangeness with the letter E. And we are going to be talking about EMF fields. But I'm wondering, Anne, whether we should announce our big...
Can I just say...
Our big news right now.
You've left me 9 minutes to do my topic.
That's all right. You can... I'm sorry.
That's okay. Yes, let's announce our big news. Okay, we have organised another travel adventure for all of you people who would like to come and join us within Australia. And this one, we are in Perth. So we went over last year and we did our seance parlour, and we ran a workshop for a lovely group of the spiritualists over there about a bit of ghost hunting, and they loved it. They loved it so much that they've actually asked us to come over and run another one at a haunted location with an investigation. So we were working on a great location, but there was a little bit of a breakdown with communication. They didn't understand what it was we wanted to book, and we had the contracts, we were ready to sign, and they've gone, oh, no, sorry, we didn't realise it's a public thing. We thought it was just a small group that were coming in.
Yeah.
So, Buggers, that's all right. These things happen. But these ones, I rang them up and I explained in detail exactly what we were going to be doing. And they're right into it. They love it. They said there's so many ghosts there. And
I can't wait. Never been. None of us have ever been. Neither of us have been.
No.
So this is completely new.
I've got to remember the name of it, and I can't see it. It's disappeared off my computer. I think it's called Fairview Village in Perth at Pinjarra. So that's about 75 minutes south of Perth. And we have booked accommodation in one of the haunted lodges where we can sleep up to 15 people. Now, this is going to be on the 20th of June. And we are going to be running workshops through the day on the Saturday. We'll get everyone to bring their own lunch on the Saturday. Then Saturday evening we'll all have dinner together. That will be part of the package. Then we'll go into an investigation for a couple of hours, probably about 3 hours. And then those people who want to go home can then head home. But for the lucky few, they can stay the night. And we can investigate on into the night. Mm-hmm. And then you get breakfast the next morning, which is all included in that package. So the deal with that one is that if you do the day of workshops and the dinner and the investigation that night, that is $250 a person. And then if you stay the night, it's only another $45 to stay the night and get your breakfast. And you get a bed. You get your own bed, all the linens provided. You don't have to bring your towels or anything. So if you are interested in that, we will be putting up an event over the next couple of days. As I said, we are limited to 15 unless we get a waiting list of 5 or more people, and then we will book a second house.
How exciting.
Because there's quite a few cottages over there and they all hold around 15. There was one that held 54 or something, but that one was actually already sold for the night and we couldn't afford it anyway. It was a little out of our price range. But we're hiring like a hall there to be able to run the event, and then we're hiring the house, and we've got the food coming in and of course workshops. So I'm hoping some of you come along.
Yeah. Because we know we'll get some people obviously from Perth to come along, but maybe some of you guys who have never experienced that side of Australia will join us.
And we'll also, if we get enough people who are travelling interstate, might like to stay the Friday night with us as well, just for a small additional extra cost. But we'll work that out. So we'll see how we go.
Yeah.
Now we're on to EMF.
Yeah.
Right.
Tell us about EMF.
Now, I actually haven't printed up any notes. I've been reading up on a little bit. I've been trying to work out why EMF, why electromagnetic field, what is important about it in ghost hunting. I came to the conclusion from the reading that I've done that it all came down to Michael, and I can't remember his last name, it's not Fassinger, the guy that invented the God helmet. Now, he was experimenting in ways to stimulate people to be able to open up to the paranormal. And he got this helmet, which he then put in these little low, not big field, small field EMF producers within the helmet, popped it on people's heads, and they started to have visions. Many, many, many people had visions.
Michael Persinger.
Michael Persinger. So I knew it was like Fassinger or something like that. Persinger. So then there was this sort of a leap of thought that EMF has something to do with ghost hunting and ghosts. And of course the ghost hunting TV shows use a lot of EMF equipment. But in other research that they did half the group that used the helmet with the EMF fields in it, and then they'd have another half that didn't have the fields in it. Those people, nobody knew who had the EMF in the helmet and who didn't. Those people still had experiences of hallucinations and visions. And there was no EMF in there.
Mm.
So is it because their mind has told them that when you wear this device, it gives you the ability to have some sort of transcendental experience, to see God, to speak to the dead? So it all comes down to the human mind, which is just crazy. But the theory is that the ghost somehow or rather can manipulate the field, interact with this EMF field. I know to make an EMF pump, because we tried to make one. We got a little motor that had a spinner on it. Is it getting hot in here, or is it my imagination?
Oh, it's all right. I had that.
I'm having a flush.
Come and go on.
You give it to me, thanks. We had a little magnet, and we put a magnet on the end of it. And the idea is the magnet spins really fast and creates this field. Of course, we didn't get it on straight and it wobbled everywhere and sounded like a vibrator. It was fantastic. I don't know. I don't mean it like that. But what we use EMF detectors for, and this is where so many people go wrong, is we use it to find changes within the environment. Man-made fields within the environment. We're looking for fluctuations of these fields within the environment. So, you've got the things like the cell sensor. That's sounding a bit dodgy. Which,
had a hard life.
It's got a bit of a thing there that tells you what sort of field you've got. And it's not going off at all. I don't think that's working real well. Then we've got things like the K2. So as I get close to the phone, obviously that's going to be going off because that's got a field as well. So when we go into a supposed haunted location, I would use these EMF devices to find, this is the Rook, they don't make the pink ones anymore, sorry guys, to locate the man-made fields of EMF. Now, Renata, we did a lot of work on...
ghosts. We got ghosts.
Yeah.
Look. Oh my God!
We did a lot of work on EMF and what it does to people. So there's some people who are super sensitive to EMF, and it creates health problems for them. They can have things like the headaches, feelings of paranoia, fear, someone's watching them all the time. And this, over your shoulder, it's not the cat. This is what EMF can do for you. So we use EMF in the field to work out what could be causing mental conditions within the house, like the allergies, or if you want to call it an allergy or a sensitivity to EMF. If there's people who don't cope well with it, we need to know where the EMF in the house is. Is it because you're charging your phone next to your bed? Is it because of the iPad and computer you keep by the side of the bed, which is producing this EMF field? I'd just like to say we're down to 16 people watching. Yours was obviously far more interesting. And then we can solve the problem for those people and let them know, no, it's not a ghost in your house that's watching you. It's not that thing that's flickering out the corner of your eye. You actually have a sensitivity to electromagnetic fields. But some people get hold of these EMF meters and go, oh, it's flashing, it's a ghost. That's not originally what they were designed for. They were designed to find the faulty wiring and high voltage stuff. We can use them in ghost hunting, and I have had incredible conversations where if the entity chooses to manipulate this and come close to it, you can say, look, if there is somebody here with me now, could you flash that right up to red, please? And then it mysteriously goes red. Wow, cool. Okay, thank you. Could you flash that up to red again if you're a male? And then you can hopefully establish some sort of communication. I would go into a location that there was no man-made EMF in there at all. Now, there's different levels of EMF meters. You've got this sort of one, which is your basic model. I'm very suspicious of anything that says, where there's a switch that says ancient ghost, recent ghost. That just is odd. It reads EMF, but we don't know whether it's calibrated at all. These ones are just a general one. They get set off by magnets. They can get set off by Wi-Fi, certain lights. The REM pods, if you get too close to a REM pod, that will set them off as well, because that actually puts out a field of energy.
Hi, Emma.
But if you know how to use them properly, they can be used well. But remember that that's not what they were designed for.
We do have a question. Someone asked, Cherry asked whether EMF is like ley lines. No, a little bit different. Although ley lines are believed to have high magnetic resonance. So there is a real sense of energy around where ley lines are, and that's why the ancients used them for places of sacred ritual. So there is something that seems to attract people at ley lines, but it's not EMF, although there is a high magnetic field around ley lines.
Yes, and in actual fact, I was reading up on ley lines that there is no actual scientific evidence of ley lines, but everyone keeps referring to them, and there's a lot of historical sites on these supposed ley lines. But that will be another episode. We've actually got it down for L. There are also like EMF meters like this one, which will give you the specific reading of how high the EMF is in this area. So as you can see, that's actually quite a decent reading. These very rarely go over 0, and it was peaking at 5 something when I had it facing that way. So that's a Mel meter. They are, 30.5. We've either got a demon or we've got a lot of EMF here. No, we've got all these lights. We've got live Wi-Fi. We've got computers on over there. It's not a ghost. So yeah, you can use it as a tool of communication as long as you've eliminated the man-made things that are going on around you. It's not necessarily a ghost detector. It's a detector of changes of EMF within your environment. And the ghost can choose to work with it or not. But it all came about because of Michael Persinger, right? Because he was using it as an experiment in the God's helmet. And I actually want to try and get hold of a God's helmet. One of the proper ones, so that we can.
You know someone who has one?
Yeah, now there's ones that are the copies, but I actually want to get one from the maker, the proper ones, because apparently the copy ones are not quite right.
That's interesting. That would be very, very interesting. And of course, the bottom line here is that the hallucinations, the headaches, the sense of being watched, all of those sort of things that are associated with high EMF fields. And of course that sense that, or the things that we think of as ghost hunters and paranormal investigators, where these entities can use this EMF field to draw in the energy that they need to manifest. So it kind of goes hand in hand.
Yeah.
And by seeking out high areas of EMF, we may be actually finding those spots where spirits congregate or create changes within the environment, and reach out to the living. So we need to also know where the ghosts are coming in these houses and these sites, and see whether that's the same spot that is high in EMF.
Are they feeding on these high EMF fields? But there is no actual evidence anywhere that tells us that ghosts manipulate EMF fields. I know I've had experiences where I can't explain what is going on, but here's somebody who sells paranormal equipment. Just being honest with you, this is the science out there. But the thing is, scientists used to think the world was flat.
Yeah,
science gets it wrong sometimes.
They work in very small parameters,
and they also have a fear of announcing that they believe in something that goes against what everybody else believes. It's very hard for them to step up as a scientist and go, I have definitive proof that there is life after death, because they would probably get laughed out of the field.
Hi, Cindy. Thanks for coming on. Unfortunately,
we're just about to finish. Anyway, look, I just want to do a little bit on EMF. I hope that makes sense. Maybe I should have had my notes with me. But yeah.
Google it. That's what I say. So we're just going to finish off this last section on EMF fields, the electromagnetic fields, for our listeners of the podcast. So Renata and Anne are saying goodbye until next week. Everyone else, hold on. We will be back in a minute. And our listeners, we are saying goodbye. Thank you very much. And we will see you again next week on the Frightfully Good podcast.
Thank you, Nat. I thought you were never going to finish that.
Sorry.
That was a big wind up there. What else do we have to announce? What else is happening?
We have quite a number of tours still coming up. And
we've got 10 tours in February.
Needing to be booked by all of you lovely people. So the idea is to grab the Frightfully Good Facebook page and jump on and see what there is and when it is coming up, and book. We have a 4-hour ghost hunt at Maitland Jail at the end of this month. 4 hours. We have another Great Northern event coming up, but you have to book through the Great Northern Hotel Facebook page or web page. They are the ones handling the tickets. We have Valentine's Day at Maitland Jail, and we are planning some juicy little things for you lovers that want to be there at Maitland Jail on Valentine's night. So,
and for those who don't have a partner to bring, we'll find you a nice ghost.
Yeah, we'll find you someone, that's for sure. So plenty of things coming up. Please, Grossman House and Brough House at Maitland, 2 buildings on the one night. 2 buildings right next to each other. That's still up for
yes, Danielle, we're doing Maitland Jail while you're here. We've planned those dates around when you're here, my love. So don't you stress.
Yes. So WA is a week beforehand. So
Yep.
depending on when you get here, Danielle, you might be able to do both. Just saying. So yeah, look, all of those things and more. So you have to come onto the Frightfully Good page. If you have friends who are really, really interested, please just pop up the Frightfully Good page and say, we're a good bunch of people. We invite you to come along and be part of the community and join in all the fun.
I'm freaking out now, Danielle.
Don't forget, Thursday night we have our half hour of free tarot. So join us again here on Thursday night at 8:30 till 9 o'clock for half an hour of free tarot. And is there anything else?
I think that's it.
Yeah, we will put out all the information about the West Australia event very, very soon. And again, we thank you all. We thank our para stalkers so much. If you want to be a para stalker, it is the first post on the Frightfully Good page. It's pinned. All you do is click on that. And
a Patreon supporter, you mean?
Yeah. And yeah, we'll be back next week with the letter F.
And hopefully we'll be a little more awake. We're a little bit wiped after our huge workshop yesterday. That went really well.
It went really well.
Really well. Anyway.
Thank you.
Love yous all.
Love
we'll
you
see you
all.
on the dark side.
Bye.
Bye.